We are back with the Bear's Cave. It has been a tumultuous couple of weeks since we have last been on the air. Um, Welcome back to everyone. Sam, welcome back. How's it been hanging with you?
It's going good, repping the Bears. Got the shirt on, got the mug, been drinking out the mug,
Mhm. Very nice.
hoping to fill this up with some Packers fans tears soon.
Well,
Don't think
hope.
that's gonna
Well,
happen.
hold on. Actually, we have a prime opportunity to fill this with the second best thing, which is Vikings fans' tears. Later on the show, about halfway through, we're going to have a friend of ours, one of the watchers of the show, come on and we'll interview him. He's a Vikings fan. We'll talk about the thoughts on the upcoming game. Um, we'll get to hear his kind of the pride before the fall, if you will.
Right,
Um,
right.
so yeah, we can fill up with some of that. I'll put a link. I'll put a timestamp down in the description if you want to just skip to that and you don't give a shit about us. That's fine. I won't take it personally, but I'll put it there. Um, but Sam, we have a lot to talk about.
Oh
Until
yeah.
then, Eberflus is gone. Um, he's gone, and the Bears have lost. We didn't make a video for the Lions game or the Vikings game, right?
No, no, we didn't.
Yeah, so we got to talk about
Yeah,
Vikings game, Lions game, and the shitty 49ers game. That one was bad.
yeah. All of them.
I was not I was like, listen, never mind. There's a lot to get into. But
Yeah.
first off, the biggest news of all: Matthew Eberflus has been fired from the Chicago
Yep.
Bears organization as a head coach. Sam, what are your thoughts on Eberflus's coaching tenure for the Bears?
I think it was clear before this year that he should have been gone.
Mhm.
I think it was abundantly clear. Um, the defense has been good under his tenure, which
Yeah,
was his thing. Valid, for the most part, the defense, which is his side of the ball, has been good.
yeah,
But we knew going into this year, and even going into last year with Justin Fields, that the defense is not what needs to be good. We need to figure out the quarterback,
mhm,
right? And it doesn't matter how good your defense is. The quarterback, you know, needs to be the one to win you games.
yeah,
It's not old school, run it down your mouth, win games 10-7 anymore. That's not what the NFL is, as much as so many Bears fans wish it was, because we'd be the greatest organization ever if quarterbacks didn't matter. But all that mattered 2 years ago was developing Justin Fields. All that matters this past year was developing Caleb Williams, and the organization, you know, committed malpractice in keeping him and keeping any defensive coach. And that's nothing against Matt Eberflus's defense because, like I said, it was good the whole time.
yeah.
Consistently for the most
For the
part, the
most part,
defense
yeah,
has been solid. I mean, sometimes there's bad games and whatever. You're not going to stop every offense every game,
yeah,
but if your offense gets stopped every game, then what does it even matter? Well, like, what's even the point of having a good defense if you can't win?
yeah. And if we can hold
Because
them
your offense is
to,
so bad.
under 20 points, like
Doesn't
we
matter
have,
if you score
like,
13.
yeah. I mean, like, but that's what we've done for most of the year, um, and honestly,
Right.
most of last year too.
Yep.
I
It's
think,
been the common theme.
yeah,
Um,
no one is
and
dissing Eberflus's, skill as a
right,
defensive
as a
coach.
defensive coordinator, I mean, if I was a team that had a good quarterback and my defense sucked and I needed a defensive coordinator, he's the first person I would call because our defense was consistently great, even with only, if we really think about it, not that many great players. I mean, we all know Jalen Johnson's great. Excuse me, Montez Sweat is very, very good.
Hmm.
I don't know if I would call him great necessarily. He hasn't been great this year.
Yeah, this
He's
year is
been very
definitely
effective
been
against the run, but other than that, who's our stars? I mean, there's no other guys that every fan base would know, right? I mean, we have the guys that we know are good because Bears fans, but
yeah.
the defense is just good, and a lot of that is his coaching. And like, yeah, like, do I think he's like some ultimate like fumble worst coach ever? No, because he's a good defensive coach, but he is. the worst coach we could have had in the sense that he was a lame duck and he was a defensive guy. And I'm just completely against having a defensive coach with a young quarterback. If you've already got a solid quarterback, a veteran, been around the block and is comfortable and succeeding, then yeah, get a defensive coach, and
Yeah.
that can put you over the top, be a defense to be a championship Super Bowl quality team.
Mhm.
But if you don't have that, the only thing your entire organization should be focused on is developing your quarterback to be the guy of the future.
Yeah.
Which is why the Commanders are succeeding. Why is Bo Nix so good in Denver? Is it because Bo Nix is better than Caleb Williams or whatever? No, it's because he has Sean Payton, like one of the top 5 offensive coaches in NFL history.
Yeah.
Like it's no surprise. Like of course they're succeeding in Denver.
Hmm.
Like they've got Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Drew Brees was good. He was decent in San Diego, and he's like one of the best ever with Sean Payton. There's
Yeah.
a reason, and um, that is essentially my prelude to saying that the organization was at fault for keeping him. I don't think Matt Eberflus was necessarily, like I said, the worst coach ever.
Right.
But I'm not sure if we'll ever be good if we hire another defensive coach. And if we hire anyone other than Ben Johnson, I'll be extremely disappointed.
Hmm.
That's my take. I think I don't care if we go 0-17 next year and we lose every game 45 to
I
42.
would care.
I don't care.
I
I
would
wouldn't
care.
care.
I would care.
If we score 30 points a game or even 27 points a game and we have like a top 5 offense, but our defense is abysmal, I won't care. I won't care.
I would care. For the record, I would care.
I would care a
Um,
little bit, but I'd rather that than we win a bunch of games 13-10 and Caleb doesn't look good because we hired, Ron Rivera.
yeah. I mean, at
I'm
the end of
sorry.
the day, I'd prefer more wins than losses.
I mean,
Um,
right. You know what I mean? But I at a certain level, I just want Caleb to be good, and not more so than the team because that means that the team is set up for the future, which
yeah.
it has not been in either of our lifetimes.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. Like the Bears have been good during our lifetimes,
Absolutely,
but set up for the future. I'm not so sure about that. That's a good way to put
never.
it. Um, there is something I wrote the day of Matt Eberflus's firing. It was after his press conference, and it was like it was like an hour or two after this press conference, or anyway, it was literally 1 minute before he got fired, and I had time to like process it. I was still a little bit angry in this text, which I'm gonna read, which it'll come through, but I just wanna so as much as I hate him and want him gone every day, that was a little bit of an exaggeration. I don't hate the guy. Um, I'm really wondering how much help firing Eberflus will do. I'm enjoying Thomas Brown being able to be in the coaching booth and focus fully on offensive playmaking. I don't really want him to hop straight into a position of managing game state, something he's never done. I mean, he's aside. He was an assistant head coach, but he was never really the head coach. Well, he's clearly doing a good job right now. And for someone else to be an interim head coach, I'm not sure there's an option that manages to integrate into our team fast enough. So
Agreed.
the thing was, I just really liked Thomas Brown as our offensive coordinator. I thought he was doing amazing in the booth.
Yeah,
It wasn't a thing on like, I want to keep Eberflus. It was like, I'm fine with the current direction. Like I was still seeing like improvement in the Lions game. I was like, yeah, this is good. Like the Vikings Packer or the Vikings and sorry, the Packers, Vikings and Lions game. I like they were disappointing. They were
absolutely,
heartbreaking losses. But our team played very well against three really good teams.
absolutely.
Um,
And can I interject real quick?
mhm,
In all 3 of those games, Caleb showed the number one quality I think you want in a franchise quarterback, which is resiliency.
mhm,
Things were horrible. So many quarterbacks would have just given up, been like, "Oh, I'm just gonna like throw a bunch of deep bombs and pray." But like, no, Caleb showed legit resiliency, and he is the future. And he proved that in 3 losses, which is not something you necessarily want, but he proved that he can fight. And when things are tough, he gets tougher. And
Yeah.
I love that.
Hmm. Now, with all that being said, this isn't some sort of like bring back Eberflus. The thing is, it was his time to go. Um, if not for his coaching abilities, there's one main reason in that the locker room had just imploded. I
Yeah.
don't know if you saw the reports about Jalen Johnson just going on a huge tirade. We obviously don't have like all the reports about what exactly went down, but he was very mad, and apparently he went off on the coaching staff. And when you lose a locker room like that, it's just the morale's in the dumps. Like you have to do something, and yeah, unfortunately, it was just Eberflus. But I mean, like you said, he's a very good defensive coach. I think he's going to very much excel as a defensive coordinator somewhere else. And the thing is, he's a really nice guy. So it's hard for me to like hate the guy. He's not a great head coach. He really isn't. But he's a good person. He clearly cared about the team. So it's hard for me to wish ill will on him. But the thing is,
Absolutely.
dude, he had it was the fucking beard, man. That's what did it for me. I fell right into the trap. I was like, okay, bro, bearded Flus is different.
I mean, I will say I had some belief, but I think obviously Waldron was the wrong hire. And if you're
Yeah,
depending on hiring off a good offensive coordinator, like this is also another thing. If you hire a great offensive coordinator who makes the offense great, they're gonna go be a head coach. Like they're not gonna stick around.
yeah.
Like like that's what the Lions are experiencing right now. It's like they have this great offensive coordinator, they have this amazing offense. When Ben Johnson leaves, is the Lions offense going to be as good? I hope not, because they're in our division, and I hope
Yeah.
he becomes our head coach. So that's why I kind of even don't like that idea of having a defensive coach. But continue.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of defense, I think for a defensive coordinator for next year, I think honestly Robert Saleh, I'd love. I think he's so
He
similar to
doesn't get a head coach.
He's so similar to Eberflus, the Jets former head coach.
Yeah, yep.
I think he's very
That'd be a
similar to
great hire.
Eberflus in that he's a good defense guy. He wasn't a great head coach.
I will even push back on that because I think like based on the Jets implosion, I don't really think it was Salah's fault.
I don't either, dude. I was
Like
when
I
he got
was like
fired, dude. He got fired like what 3 games, three or
it was
five
like
games
week
into
four,
this.
yeah, something ridiculous. I mean, honestly, if I was a team with like a proven quarterback, I mean, I don't know who it would be. Like maybe like the Saints, who like Derek Carr is like a veteran. You know,
I mean, I wouldn't
if I
say
was the
he.
Saints, I would hire him as a head coach, not as a defensive
Oh,
coordinator, as a head coach, proven
maybe.
quarterback who like doesn't need to get brought up. I don't know, and that's just a team with a head coaching vacancy who has a proven quarterback.
You really think Derek Carr is going to be the Saints' long-term solution,
No, of course not, but he's going to be there next year. Also, they have, I mean, Spencer Rattler is he's on the Saints, right?
dude? Spencer Rattler, dude. There's this one guy on Twitter, like first round mock or something, who like said QB1 for the draft was Spencer Rattler, and he's like QB10 is Caleb Williams, and literally all season he's just like Caleb Williams is such dog shit, and everyone's just like, how's Spencer Rattler doing, bro?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, yeah, Spencer Rattler did, but no, and like all those accusations, like a lot of people are shitting on Caleb Williams, but like honestly, there's not 15 quarterbacks I'd rather have right now.
Yeah,
You know, like I literally, I mean, like yeah, you can name like the top like 5, 10 guys in the league, and maybe like some other young guys, but he is. I mean, if you watch every Bears game, he is elite. He's so good,
mm-hmm.
and you can literally watching the game. If you watch every snap of every Bears game, you know Caleb is really, really good, and the team holds him back.
Yeah,
And also, he gets better every game. It was really rough to start the year. It was
yeah,
really rough, but he gets better every game, and like I'm so glad he's our quarterback.
yeah. Listen, I will say like there's maybe like 15 quarterbacks in the league I'd want right now over him,
Right,
but
but going forward,
going
like
forward, he's
Mahomes.
number one. He's the number one. I would not rather have maybe.
I mean, like
Maybe like
Mahomes,
Josh
Allen,
Allen or like Lamar Jackson, but I don't
yeah,
know.
like
Even
those guys.
still, like Caleb, I don't know.
Yeah, even yeah, right. It's like going forward. It's like okay, maybe like the guy, maybe any quarterback who has won an MVP, sure,
Hmm.
but like Caleb's got one of those coming.
Yeah, exactly, dude. He is.
Didn't say that, but he does.
Um, but anyway, time to talk about the games themselves. We have
Yep.
not recorded in a while, so we got a lot to
Yeah.
cover. Um,
Let's talk about the Vikings game first. I was there. It was awesome.
yeah,
It was a great time. It was a really, really bad time for about the first 3 hours I was there.
yeah, 3 hours.
Yep. And then they started coming back. It was great. I was there with my grandfather, who has season tickets.
Hmm.
Shout out my
Shout out.
grandfather Tim.
Yep.
You know,
Sponsor of the
he's
show.
been yep, he's been a season ticket holder since like I don't know, maybe the '80s. He's a legend. I go to like 2 games a year. So this year I went to the Vikings game and I went to another one too. I'm blanking
It's
on
the
it right now.
Titans game.
Yeah, it was week 1. I saw Caleb Williams first start.
Hmm.
You know, got to flex on him a little bit. You knew that and I didn't, but yeah, I went to Caleb Williams first start. And I went to the Vikings game this year, which was awesome, and saw him lose again. Yeah, I've been to like maybe 20 Bears games in my life. I've seen him win 4 times now. Actually, no, 5 times because I went to the Rams game as well. I went to the
Okay,
Rams game too.
that's
I was
right.
at
I
the
knew
Rams
I
game.
knew you went to another one.
Yeah,
Um,
I went to 3 games this year. That's the most I've ever been to.
yeah.
But it's the only
Um,
time I've ever seen him win twice in a season.
yeah. But honestly, dude, the Vikings game might have been like the most hype game of the year for me.
Right. I
Um,
mean, it was super lucky. Not gonna lie that we were able to push it to overtime. Like onside
yeah,
kicks are the definition of the luck play. Like
sure, sure.
that's like the number one play in football that's like luck based.
Well, I can't listen. Okay, the onside kick, yeah, that was luck. But
Oh,
if we're the
but dude,
rest of it was
Caleb
not,
is the guy. He's that dude.
dude.
He
That
like
was
stuck in
so
that game.
fun.
He
Just
hung
be
around.
no. Yeah, just coming back. It was crazy. I think Caleb Williams absolutely outperformed Sam Darnold that game, no matter
Yep.
what a fucking enemy is about to say. Um, he was clearly the QB winner of that battle. And in
Especially when it
overtime,
mattered.
just it didn't.
Especially when it mattered.
Yeah,
Except in overtime,
when it,
doesn't he take like
but
two
that doesn't
sacks?
matter. That doesn't matter,
Yeah, that's fake. That's fake game. That's a
dude. That's
fake
fake
game.
game, bro. One of my friends said, actually, you were there for this, where he's like, maybe you weren't here for this, but he's like, overtime should just be field goals alternating. That's goofy shit.
Just whose kicker is better? Yeah, no.
This is a terrible idea.
Which quarterback can throw it farther?
Um, no, but that was an awesome game. It was
Yeah,
like, I was like, when we had like, were, I don't know, 10 points down, I was like, listen, man, if the Bears can take it to overtime, I'm going to be happy. I don't care about the result because overtime's kind of a shit show. Um, Now, honestly, I kind of said that in part because I thought the Bears would lose the coin flip, because of course it would. But we actually
right.
won and we still lost. But,
Very Bears move.
yeah. Um, hey, I'm happy. I liked that game. That was hype as fuck.
It was fun.
It was an awesome atmosphere where I was watching it. It was a rough loss, but I was very excited after that game. The Lions
Right.
game, we were at halftime. We were down like 0-16, and I was like, everyone's
The
like,
Lions game, it was brutal. I mean, at the first half especially, it was like we stand no chance. It felt like they were an NFL team and we were a college team. I'm like, because especially the first few drives, I'm like, literally thought I'm like, we're about to lose like 56-0. Like I really that thought went through my head. I'm like, we're gonna like lose so bad.
yeah. I didn't
But
I
I was at
text you before the
Thanksgiving, so
game
like
started. I was
I wasn't
like,
paying that much attention.
Bears are gonna win like 33-30 or something. I
I
might
mean,
not have texted you that, but I definitely texted
I
other
think you
people
did,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I did. And you were
Because
like,
like
they're gonna win 52-3
yeah,
as a joke, I assume.
yeah.
But no, I was seriously believing we were gonna win by like 3 points.
Right. I mean, we kind of randomly have the Lions number for no reason.
Yeah,
The last few years, like for whatever reason, randomly have the Lions number.
Yeah.
And we almost did again this year. And Caleb being able to come back again, like the resiliency, like what he does and what he brings is awesome.
Yeah. One thing I
And
would like to say a little bit about the Lions game, and I hate to put a damper on it. Their defense was really banged up. So it was hard for us to, you know, I mean, well, to be fair, the Lions also like beat the Packers the week after, so can't say it's like a fully a Mickey Mouse like comeback, because like their secondary defense is still like sorry, the second string defense is still like really good, but a lot of their players have been injured.
yeah, I mean, they're still Lions.
Yeah,
And their offense, we were able to slow them down.
yeah,
After the first two
that
drives,
was the biggest thing. Like we could
I
stop
was
their
like, we're not
offense.
going to stop them once.
Yeah,
That's what I thought after. Like, I was like, Jesus, they're going to score every single drive, and there's nothing we can do.
yeah. That was the most surprising part of the game is that we were able to stop their
Yeah,
offense. One thing I thought was really weird is in the second half of the game they stopped running the ball. They started throwing it a lot more, which I thought was really weird.
yeah, it was
Um,
not smart.
because that's their strongest part of their game. The Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery, obviously. I mean, obviously I have Amon Ra, but we got JJ the Jet playing over here,
Yeah,
locking him down. By the way, some bullshit PI calls on Jalen Johnson that game. Like, I thought they were lame as fuck. Like,
Jalen Johnson is still my favorite NFL player. He has been for a few years now. That
yeah,
guy, he's awesome. He's so awesome.
yeah.
He's so awesome.
And then Matt Eberflus got fired after the Lions game, and we had appointed Thomas Brown to head coach. Um, and with a week and a half of, you know, a newfound optimism in the Bears, we kind of were looking to take a win against, a beaten up and also, a loss heavy San Francisco team.
Right.
Um,
They're not the Niners of old.
yeah,
There's Super Bowl hangover, lots of injuries. Maybe we had a shot. I thought we had a shot.
I thought we had a really
Um,
good shot.
right.
It did not turn
But
out that way.
no.
But listen, firing a head coach is not going to make your team immediately better.
No.
Listen, no matter how bad of a head coach, they're not going to immediately take the team better. The worst thing that Eberflus did was shitty timeout calls and non-calls and bad
It's like
clock
clock management.
management,
Right. Just that kind of thing.
and bad morale.
Horrible challenges.
But
Well, also, Eberflus, worst
terrible,
challenging head coach of
horrible.
all time.
Also, in the
Woe,
Lions
like,
game,
woe at the challenge flag.
in the
Absolute worst
Lions
of all
game,
time.
he was about to win his first challenge or something. I don't know of the year or of all time, but they then after he threw out the challenge flag, instead NFL came out and they're like, okay, we're gonna review it ourselves. So that overturned the coach's challenge. So it technically wasn't attributed to him. So he
Right.
still hasn't won a challenge, I think.
It was crazy.
Yeah. But listen, he was not good at all of that, but changing the head coach is it'll improve that stuff probably.
Right.
But
You'd hope.
for kind of organization, for kind of team, I don't know, things change a
scheme,
lot. Things that change a lot.
Yeah, like
Meetings,
your
time
scheme, how
schedule,
you use your
yeah,
players,
scheme,
depth chart.
yeah, it changes a lot. And that is not something that can be overcome in a week, right?
Right.
That is something that takes an entire off season to kind of get accustomed to a head coach. At the very least, a couple of weeks. And that's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say, I think that was kind of an organizational thing where it was just a new head coach and things were different. And I think it was probably different for Thomas Brown too, calling the plays on the field. I liked
Right.
him a lot in the booth. I liked him a lot in the booth. I think offensive coordinators should always be in the booth. They had a bird's eye view. They can see things better. I like that.
Right.
But
I also
it
think
was a
going
blunder.
on a Thomas Brown, I do want to talk about this. I think Thomas Brown is from what we've seen, from everything I've seen, he seems like he's a very good offensive coordinator. He really does, but probably is a little over his head as a head coach.
Hmm.
And like maybe he needs 2 years as a full time offensive coordinator, and then he can be a good head coach. But I mean, that's just what it seemed like to me. I mean, again, were we ever going to beat the 49ers?
Yes.
Probably not.
Yes. Don't say that. What the fuck?
I mean, like, okay, was Thomas Brown being the head coach going to be the factor that would make us beat the 49ers? I don't know if any head coach would have made us beat the 49ers that day, is what I'm trying to get at. But
Okay.
I'm not sure that Thomas Brown, I don't think he's a future. I don't think we should hire him to be our next coach. I think
Yeah, I
he
don't think
should go
that's gonna
somewhere
happen.
else and be an offensive coordinator, 100%. I
Hmm.
think he's a very good offensive coordinator, and he probably needs a little bit more time to learn things and be a head coach. But I do really like what I've seen from him, but I don't think we should hire him. Is kind of what I've gotten
Hmm.
so far, which makes sense because I think again I'm not like some expert. I'm not Thomas Brown's number one fan or like I haven't like researched his whole career or anything, but I think he just needs a little bit more time to be an offensive coordinator. I think he's very good at that, and I think that he shouldn't be a head coach. I think he's in over his head. And I mean, I'm sure it's great experience for him.
Hmm.
Maybe he
No, of
could be a
course.
head coach somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's happy, and I hope he wins some games. I hope we beat the piss out of the Vikings.
Yeah.
But
Well, we will, but um, I don't think that's a question. Um, but anyway, Thomas Brown, I think, dude, he got like promoted twice to offensive coordinator, then
right,
head
yeah,
coach in
was it?
like
He was like,
2 weeks or 3 weeks or something. It was crazy.
dude is rising up the ladder. Like
It is.
he's making it happen. Now, I mean, which is great for him. Like,
Yeah.
and hopefully he gets to show that he has like legit head coaching chops.
Hmm.
Didn't really have a good, did not really have that chance against the 49ers, which was just, I mean, kind of, we haven't really touched on that game. Bit of an unremarkable blowout. George Kittle is awesome. I mean, he absolutely smoked us.
Absolutely, bro. He's a Bears fan,
He is a Bears fan, and
so respect the
I
Kittle.
respect to Kittle. He absolutely smoked us. We have no one who can cover him. We couldn't stop their run game. Purdy's good. Their defense is still good.
Their defense is still good. Our defense needs to step it up. I thought our defense was really, really bad during the
Yep.
49ers game. I
Yep.
thought
I
our
mean, I think
offense.
that's the loss of Eberflus. I mean, we
Yeah,
all know Eberflus is a great defensive coach. I think the loss of him makes the defense worse.
yeah,
No doubt about it.
obviously.
I still think Andrew Billings' injury is the biggest injury we've sustained. Ever since he went down, we can't stop the run
Hmm.
because he's like an awesome player. I mean, Andrew Billings was like, I mean, how do you not love the big fat guy in the middle? I mean, but he, but like for real though,
No, I mean
when
we
he
love Andrew
blocks,
Billings in this house.
like, I really hope he's a player that like stays with the Bears because,
Yeah.
like, he's like a one man run defense. He's so good.
Hmm.
Andrew Billings, like, where's my Andrew Billings fan club? Honestly, if he stays with us and he signs a long term deal with us, like I'm getting an Andrew Billings jersey. He's awesome.
I think that's a good idea. Sam, we have a guest on the show coming up
Let's
right
bring him
about
in.
now. Um, so I'm going to pause the recording for now, and we will come back in a sec once we have him on. Prepare yourselves, everyone, because it's a Vikings fan. We are back with the Bears Cave. Len, this is our friend Len. He's a good fan, a good friend of the show. He watches our show, and unfortunately, he is a Vikings fan, which is a knock on his character. But I appreciate you for your support, and we have some things to talk about with this upcoming Bears v Vikings game. It's going to be a fun game. I want to hear your thoughts on it, and Len, why don't you just introduce yourself to the crowd across the world?
Yeah, no pressure, obviously. Yeah, my name's Len. I've been a Vikings fan most of my life now. grew up on the Minnesota-Wisconsin border, so a lot of division in the town. It was split 50-50, still is. It's in these bitterly divided times. The true tragedy of Vikings fans versus Packers fans. Growing up on a border town, I dealt with a lot of strife, and yet through it all, or through most of it, I've been a Vikings fan, and so I can take the beatings. I took them as a kid, so yeah, I'm unrepentant Vikings fan, and I guess I started loving football because action on the screen, but as I grew older, I really also grew attached to the more data driven technical side of football. So that's where I often try to approach the game from.
Okay, cool. You said you've been a Vikings fan for most of your life. Was there a time you kind of strayed?
Yes, a very shameful time in my past,
What was that? I've never
where I
heard this.
was where I was a huge Brett Favre fan and therefore a Packers fan when I
That's
was like
crazy.
4 years old.
That's crazy.
I to this day I suspect it was in part at least to piss off my dad, who's been a Vikings fan since the '60s. It's '70s, I guess,
Well,
Super Bowl teams.
hopefully
So
by the
yeah.
time we're done here, we can piss him off by turning you into a Bears fan.
Ah,
Type
I
shit.
will say the first thing I want to ask any Vikings fan is you've
okay.
got a very, very interesting question looming over your franchise. Great season so far. What do you do with Sam Darnold? What do you do with JJ McCarthy?
That is a very good question. I am not smart enough to have an answer to, at least not a definitive one.
I, I am smart
um,
enough.
but I will address that, in a second. But I do just want to say, all right, I want to bring out that God Emperor quarterback of the United States, Sam Darnold, has been absolutely tearing it up this year, and I couldn't be happier for him. I mean, I remember
Agreed.
being a fan of him in the draft process back, God, 2018. Feels
Long
like
time ago.
ancient history. Yeah, feels ancient history. But
Yeah,
he went to the Jets, and the Jets have a great habit of absolutely destroying quarterback prospects. I
couldn't be
mean,
us.
Yeah,
all right,
I felt that one in my
the
soul.
franchise, they had Chad Pennington for a bit, pretty sure, and it was just, they had Brett Favre for a year.
Yeah,
It's all been aging over the hill journeyman or just destroying quarterback prospects. So I had a feeling when he went to the Jets, it's like, oh, he's done. He's screwed.
yeah.
It's funny. Our head coach Kevin O'Connell was a quarterback for the Jets for about a year and a half, if that,
I didn't know that.
before getting unceremoniously cut. So Jets have a long history of quarterback failure,
Yeah,
and so when he went to Carolina, another pretty poorly run franchise, if we're being entirely honest, uh, it's like okay, this he's showing signs, showing flashes of what he was thought to be in 2018, but it's still not great. He still got cut at the end for Baker Mayfield. But and he then moved over to San Francisco and did well enough in a backup role. So I was like, okay, this is your, like when he signed with the Vikings, it's like this is your chance to do something great. Because if you can't do something great here, you're probably not cut out for being a quarterback in the NFL. Just straight up, we have Justin Jefferson, we have Jordan Addison, we have TJ Hawkinson, we have probably one of the best receiving cores, inclusive of tight ends, in the league. And
I'd
so,
agree.
like you
Uh,
gotta you gotta do well here.
Hmm.
Because everything, I mean, maybe not the offensive line. We'll talk about that later, I'm sure. But the everything offensively is set up for you to succeed here. So you got to succeed, and he has succeeded.
Okay.
So you know what? I'm proud of him for what he's done.
Okay.
That is he is going to get paid next year one way or the other.
It's true.
And so yeah. So
Yeah.
as for what to do with him, at this juncture, Apparently, they haven't had contract discussions, like at all, which is not terribly unusual. Most of the time, you don't have contract talk during the season, just too busy,
Right.
too
Other
much
things to
stuff
focus
to do
on.
during the weekday. Yeah, right. Way too much stuff going on to focus on contract talks. But I've been hearing rumors of his contract potentially exceeding 35 to 40 million a year. And we recently
Wow,
last year got
that's
rid of our franchise quarterback for request, for having roughly the same amount of money demand for 4 years, which he did end up getting in Atlanta, and I'm sure they absolutely love that. I'm sure they love that
Yeah, they're
contract.
doing great down there.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's not it's not a shit show at all.
yeah. Anyway,
But
I want to talk about Bears versus Vikings, but I will comment on the Sam Darnold situation a little bit. I think
yeah,
he's, I'm happy for him. I'm glad he's doing well. I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. I think J.J. McCarthy is a really good player. I think he is what you guys should really be focusing on. Um, Sam Darnold is exceeding because primarily of your guys' offense around him. I think he's just in a really really good position right
I'm
now.
gonna
yeah,
I'm
and I
gonna
would be
take
inclined to.
exactly what you
Okay,
said. All right, exactly what you said. I think the exact opposite. If I was the Vikings, I would pay Sam Darnold and I wouldn't think twice about it. I would think I've got a quarterback who can lead
Crazy.
us to a lot of wins. I think a lot of it depends on the playoffs. I think even if he wins one playoff game, I think he's the guy.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
think if you
yeah.
have the
thankfully
guy,
he's
then
he's not going to win one
you
playoff game.
are you sure he's not gonna?
Oh,
Because
them's fighting words.
I
Them's
will
because
but I
fighting
will
we
words.
place
we talked about Atlanta.
real
It
life
looks like their
USD
I was gonna
first round
say,
currency.
playoff
and
game is
we
going to be
might be
Atlanta,
playing Atlanta in the wild card,
Oh,
and
that's
against
what it's going to
Atlanta?
I'm
be.
so excited for that.
And
Okay,
that's what
maybe.
it's going to be.
Maybe. Maybe.
It
I mean,
it
Listen,
I
might
just think the
it
exact
might just
opposite of
be
you,
that.
Tom.
So.
I will say there's literally like only four good teams in the NFC who are in the playoff race. Um, I think Vikings,
Okay.
Eagles, Lions, Packers, and I
That's
think
it.
yeah, that's four.
Yeah,
That's it.
I would. It'd be hard to
I
disagree with
don't
you
think
on that.
Commanders. I think
Those
Commanders
are
are
the four
horrible. I
real
think they're
contenders in the
frauds.
NFC. Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
yeah,
if the 49ers get hot, no one wants to face them.
yeah, but they're also
Well,
not
yeah,
getting
no,
hot,
that's
and they're also
true.
not in the
Well,
playoffs.
Yeah, sure.
I
Listen,
mean, they have an outside shot, but I guess we'll see. I'm not. I think they're still too beat to hell to be a meaningful playoff team.
mhm.
49ers, that is. Um,
Anyway,
but
we're not
yeah,
a
so yeah,
49ers
there's
team.
about four
We're a
teams.
Bears podcast. Len, what is your score prediction? Actually, hold on. I'll
Okay.
go first. Um, my score prediction: Vikings Bears. I
In
think it's
Minnesota,
gonna be. It's in Minnesota. Eberflus is gone. It's got to be a high-scoring game. I think it's gonna be the highest-scoring game this year. 37-32. Bears win.
Oh,
That is
how do
very
you get to
generous.
37?
That is very generous. What?
How do you get to? Oh, so three field goals, four touchdowns? That's
Something like that. That's just a bit. That's just. It just sounds good,
okay.
right?
Okay. I think
Well, hold on, hold on.
I'm
Let Sam
thinking
go.
along
Let Sam
similar
go.
lines.
You're the
Though.
fucking guest.
All right.
Be a
All
little
right.
bit respectful, Sam.
I'm sorry.
no,
I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead, Sam.
think I think the Bears are a little cooked. I think the Vikings have a lot more to play for,
That's
but I
crazy.
think the Bears will still play hard. I think it'll be a pretty low scoring game. I think we played them hard last time, but I'm not sure that I think the home field advantage will play into the Vikings quite a bit more.
Okay.
I think it's maybe 23 to like 17 Vikings win.
Okay.
That's what I think. I think it's a low scoring game. I either way, maybe Bears win. I think it's pretty close. For some reason the Bears always play the Vikings tight, even when they're good and we're bad. We're always good against our division except for the Packers, which makes me want to stop being a fan. But um, I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a low scoring game, opposite of what you think. I think it'll go either way, but I think the Vikings have a little bit more magic than we do. I think the Vikings, I'm sure Len will agree with me. They're a team that has magic year to year. Whether that magic is they're crazy lucky and they always find a way to win, or they're the unluckiest team in the year, changes every year. Last year they were could not win a game if their life depended on it because their magic was reversed. This year their magic is just absolutely perfect, and I think they find a way to steal the game at the end. It'll be up and down, back and forth. And I think the Vikings just have the magic this year,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I think can't quite win. I
Len, what are
think
your
the
thoughts?
losing streak extends.
Yeah, well, I think the Vikings are going to at least edge out a win, and I think they will actually win by a touchdown. That's just kind of my gut feeling. I'm feeling 31-24 here.
Okay.
Just I think like the Bears, it's a divisional game. Divisional games always are played tight.
Hmm.
And yeah, the Bears have played us tight basically every year for the last 5 years, I'd say. Last time I really remember a beatdown was 2016, the end of the season, when we were out of the playoff hunt and just absolutely let loose on the Bears. But yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case this time. I think the Bears got beat bad enough last week to where they're going to try to salvage something. They're going to try something, do something other than what they did last week.
Hmm.
So I won't bring up that game too much, but I will say I think the Bears will play the Vikings close. They might even pull ahead a couple times, but I think the Vikings will win it 31-24.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're not a fan if you don't think your team will win, so I can respect that.
Oh, I feel the shade from here. I feel the shade.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I
I'm
don't think we have a chance against what an 11-2 team.
record does not mean jack shit. No, it doesn't.
That's true, but also they have magic. The Vikings have magic this year. It changes every year.
Yeah,
Last year they
sort of.
didn't have magic.
Hard
Next
to
year
hard to
the
argue
Vikings will have
that.
no
The
magic.
first 5 games, I would agree with you.
Are
And then
you?
the refs decided to
No,
jump in
it
on
fucking
the
wasn't, dude. Oh my gosh. You had no chance of winning anyway against the Rams. I don't want to hear that. You needed to go
yeah,
100
yeah.
yards in like 30 seconds. No. I don't want to hear that.
All
Anyway.
right, all right, all right. I won't bore you. I won't force you.
I want you to admit it. Anyway. Len, what did you think about the first Vikings game?
Well, I actually thought it was a pretty mixed performance from the Vikings' perspective, anyway. I think they really should have won the game outright if good old Nick Muse didn't absolutely like brain short circuit on that onside kick. I think the Vikings take it by would have been 7.
3.
But or no, I'm sorry, you're right. It's 3. You're right. You're right. So it was not a great outing for. I mean, the defense kept us in it, although they also gave up some long, long drives to
Hey,
Caleb
listen,
Williams.
man. That is not your fault, okay? Literally, not the best defense in the world cannot have stopped us. And trust
All
me,
right,
you are
duly
very
noted.
far from that. I'm kidding. Your defense is very
I
legit.
don't know about that.
Your
I was
defense
gonna
is
say
very legit.
top 5 defense, at least in takeaways and causing big plays to happen. But they do let up yards, I will say. They absolutely will let you get to the 20, they just won't let you get to the end zone, which is a big Brian Flores thing. So,
I think that first Vikings
uh,
game was so exciting. I was telling Sam,
oh well,
it
yeah,
was
I'm
like
sure it
the
was from
most hyped
Chicago's
game of the year.
perspective. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you had a shot to knock off the Vikings. Yeah,
yeah.
great, great performance by Caleb Williams. Outside of a few key moments that kind of sunk them near the end, but he's a rookie quarterback. He's going to have a couple of those moments. So hard to
Len, speaking
hard
of
to get
which,
too
give
mad.
us a kind of a synopsis of your thoughts on the Bears as a whole.
Uh, Well, you know what? I have a soft spot for the Bears. And it's definitely
Same.
not because I spent 4 years getting an undergrad degree in Chicago that I think this. Definitely not influencing my thoughts at all. But I think they are they're a storied team. They're one of the oldest teams in the entire NFL. It just sucks that I think upper management in a number of ways. I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cold in case you can't
No, it's
tell.
okay. We're all emotional here.
But yeah, a team that has been run so poorly by upper management just needs a break. I think the Bears need a win. I think
Hmm.
Caleb Williams can be that win
Yep.
eventually. Uh, but yeah, it's been periods of absolute comedic bad, mixed with the occasional what the fuck year. So, like 2006, 2011, uh, 2018.
2018. Yep.
Yeah.
That year doesn't exist.
So yeah, the occasional year where it's like, oh, this team is good. Not even just, like it's a weak division. No, this team is good.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's always been really cool to see. I really like the style of football the Bears play.
Yeah.
The sort of defense, run game,
I
heavy,
don't.
heavy.
I don't like that style of football. I want us to have a good quarterback.
Is it,
Well, yeah.
it's
No, I
cool.
mean,
But it gets old. Uh,
well, yeah. I mean, we had Mike Zimmer for 7 years. So yeah, I know it gets old eventually
yeah.
because he was very big in that run game, heavy defense. Sack the quarterback and then sack him again. That whole deal.
Mhm.
But yeah, I've always, I guess, just kind of liked that style of football. So I respect the Bears on that front.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just wish they had more of a cohesive direction to go in. Packers and Vikings seem to have that down. Lions are getting that down, so I don't know, Bears need something to go right for them.
Yeah.
So,
Len, we want to hear your. Okay. I'm not gonna be rude. I'm not gonna preface it with anything. Len, how
okay.
would you rank the NFC North?
Like a power ranking
Yes.
or just
Power
like
ranking.
favorite team, least power ranking. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get some flack for this, but I am gonna put. Okay, I don't think I can do that. No, you know what? I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put the Vikings first. I think. Am I a homer?
I,
Yes. Sue me. Yeah, it's a choice. Sue me. Yeah, I
Hey,
know.
listen.
I
Hey,
know.
don't worry, man. I'd put the Bears first too.
You'd put the Bears first.
That
Great.
seems that seems like an even bigger jump, but okay. I respect it. I respect it.
I'm
So
kidding.
I don't know. Well, okay. The problem with the Lions right now, and the problem I think they're going to run into when they hit the playoffs, is that their team's pretty beat up.
That
That
is true.
defense especially is pretty beat up.
That is true. We have talked about that a little bit
See,
today.
they've lost two linebackers now, long term.
And some
Two,
secondary members.
yeah, some secondary, yeah. It, it. They'll play hard. They're always going to play hard for Dan Campbell. So they will never be an easy out, but I'm excited for the Week 18 game. I think the Vikings have a legit shot, even if it's in Ford Field or what do they call their arena these days? It's not Ford Field
It's
anymore.
the Lions Den.
The Lions Den. Oh, okay,
Whatever it
yeah,
is.
yeah, whatever.
That'll be an
Ford
exciting
Field,
game.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope it's for the division.
yeah. I,
I
I
hope
think
it's
it
just
might be.
winner
I
wins.
think the Bills have a shot to, you know, cause them to lose. Then the Vikings need to win out, which is by no means a given, but it could be for the division. Let me hope at least. So, yeah, I think the Vikings could take the Lions, and so I would put the Vikings at 1, Lions at 2. I'm sorry, I gotta say Packers at 3. They're a good team in their own right. They just it's a tough division. Gotta, so good isn't good enough. I mean, it will be good enough for a wild card spot most likely, but
I mean,
it's
definitely.
it's tough. Yeah, it's tough. And then right now, Bears at 4. Now, if you wanted me to rank them on brightest future, I would put the Bears at second.
Second
Vikings.
to
Vikings have the
who?
brightest future, I think.
A lamp?
You have JJ McCarthy, or you stick with Sam Darnold. Either one. I think you'll get elite quarterback play. I can hear Tom heavy breathing on the other side of the line here, but I, I think the Vikings have a really bright future ahead of them, and I think the Bears do too. I think Caleb Williams will ball out. I think he'll be at least top 8, top 5 quarterback, maybe even top 3 in a couple years. I don't know. Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are going to be hard to upset,
Patrick
but
Mahomes is a fucking bum. But Lamar Jackson is legit, I will say.
all right, all right. I mean, he marches his way to wins.
He doesn't. Bro, okay. His performance this year is not that good. But we are not a
yeah.
Chiefs podcast, so we will not talk
All right,
about them.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Um,
So I'd put them at second. I would put probably the Packers at 3 and the Lions at 4. I think all 4 will be good for the foreseeable
It's gonna be
future.
tough. Yeah.
yeah,
I just feel like the Lions have the most room to fall off because
Agreed.
frankly they need a new quarterback. I think Jared Goff is solid. I
sure.
don't think he's getting up there in age. He is 31, I believe. Is it 30?
That's not that old for a QB.
I will say I think
Yeah.
Jordan Love is the worst quarterback in the NFC North.
That
I'll
is
say
a.
that.
I
Well,
would
right
probably agree with
now
that.
I would have to give it to you. Yeah, right now I would say that. I think he has room to grow, which is why I put him at 3 instead of 4. But yeah, they have similar problems where a lot of their skill position players, well, their wide receiver core is pretty young, but there's not a ton in the pipe defensively for him, so you gotta, I think they're gonna look to invest in their defense this offseason pretty heavily. And yeah, we'll see where it goes. This is, the black and blue division is back, and I'm excited. Excited for the game.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be a fun one. Listen, I'm not gonna say. Okay, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. Okay, I kind of do, but I'm not gonna rank power rankings because I think people are close. I think though that the Bears have a much better shot at beating the Vikings than they do the Packers and the
really,
Lions, for that matter. Yeah, I think. I mean, listen, the Bears versus Packers. Like, I hate to admit it, but we're kind of like all-time losers. Not all-time, but like our lifetime losers in that
Yeah.
kind of situation. Um, and I think that's going to turn around, but. At Lambeau, I think that's going to be hard to kind of beat. But I think this is the second most winnable game on the schedule coming up. Um, now, whether the
I
Packers
think
or
we match up best against the Lions. I think the Lions is our best shot.
maybe,
That's just me.
I don't know, man.
For no reason.
They're
Because the
so
Lions,
I
I
good.
mean,
think, are.
well, hey,
I
you
think the
guys
Lions are the
almost
best
won the
team, but
game
I think we just
where
beat them for no reason.
unless unless your new head coach
Don't,
does an
don't,
Eberflus and
don't, no.
all right, I won't traumatize you again. But
I
you guys
just
were
got
in
out
that
of
game to the
therapy.
very end. You guys were in that game, so
Yeah, we're in all
you
our
guys
games
match up
except
well against the
49ers
Lions
games.
too.
Yeah. Hey, we will give all of our divisional opponents a fight till the bitter death. I can guarantee that. We are not going to have any blowout losses.
I would say
Okay.
that's true. I'd say that's true. Might have some close, heartbreaking losses, but that's
Oh
about
yeah.
it.
Oh yeah. I mean, listen. When we were playing the Lions, we were down 0 to 16 at the half. I was like, like everyone else was giving up. I'm like, listen, guys, the Bears have to come back because they have to lose the game in some heartbreaking fashion.
That wasn't that was agonizing. I wouldn't call it
It
heartbreaking.
was
Like
heartbreaking.
it
You
was
don't get to say
rage-inducing. I
that,
wouldn't
bro.
call it heartbreaking.
It was
But
heartbreaking. It was so fucking heartbreaking. What are you talking about?
yeah,
You weren't.
More than
well,
that,
I
You're
mean,
not a Bears fan,
heartbreaking
bro.
implies it was like some miracle
You have
play
been
that
revoked of
happened.
your Bears fan privilege.
Ah, okay, all right, all right. It's my thing is it was stupidity that lost you that game,
Yeah.
and so to me that's more rage-inducing than heartbreaking. You know, like that. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but
Yeah. I
you know,
agree. It is just you.
yeah,
this is
yeah.
another
Okay.
add another one to the
You know, it's
list.
funny. I was sitting down eating Thanksgiving dinner, having a great time, and then I come out into the den to watch football, and by then the game had ended, and so I looked up the box score. And it's like, ah, damn, they couldn't get it done. And then I see your messages in the Discord, and it's like, oh my god, what happened? Oh man.
It's been a rough season, but listen, dude, we are. I honestly feel like the Bears and the Bengals are two similar teams. We're right on the cusp of greatness,
That's
both
so
of
true.
us. I
So
think the
true.
Bengals are a very legit team. They've got like the same record. They're 5-9. What? Um, I think we're super close to them in terms of how we're going to be next year. We're going to come out as two big contenders. I think the Bears are going to rock the world next year. And
I
listen,
hope
we're out of
so.
the
All right.
playoffs. I can accept that. I know there's still a chance if every other team resigns. I'm not going to hope on that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I don't want to be too, like, I don't know. I still get. Anyway, I think the Bears are
Yeah.
good. I think the Bears are very good now, and they're going to be even better next year. And I think the Bears are going to beat the Vikings.
Okay.
Anyway,
You're allowed to
Len,
be hopeful. So.
yeah, and you're allowed to be wrong, both of you. Um,
Damn. Okay.
anyway, guys,
Almost.
Len, thank you so much for coming on the show today. It was
Yeah.
such
Thank
a
you, Elijah.
Thanks for
pleasure
having me.
getting to
Happy to
talk
do
to you.
this. Always. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Um, hopefully, after the game, you can send maybe a sound clip in, and we can play it next week or something.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, or we could just like, I don't know.
Hopefully with better audio quality,
Yeah.
but on my end anyway. So
Also,
yeah.
if you guys,
Yeah. All right.
this is not his real face. He could not get his video working. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm not normally a cat, so
It's fair. It's fair. Um, Sam, Len, give us your final thoughts on everything.
Uh, let's go Bears. I love the Bears. I wish they were good. Caleb Williams, I think will be the best quarterback in the league. He's going to win an MVP and like 8 Super Bowls. But he's not going to
eight
beat the
Super
Vikings.
Bowls in the next 5 years. Let's go.
Absolutely. Okay, there we go. Len, you're you're getting the hang of it,
After
buddy.
the Vikings win 12 Super Bowls in the next 10 years.
Well, we can give
I
you a
have to. I
couple.
have to add that.
We
But
can give you a
yeah.
couple, but you can't get.
And also one more thing I want to add: if we hire anyone but Ben Johnson, we remain a poverty franchise, and I'm going to be a fan of a different team.
No, you're not.
No, I won't. But
Well, if
fuck
your
the Bears.
head coach
If
is,
we
going
hire
like
Ron
he's
Rivera, I'm going to lose
yeah,
my
you
mind.
guys need Ben Johnson. You guys need someone who can
Yeah.
run the offense.
Yeah.
So,
Len, give us your thoughts, brother.
well, I'm excited for the first time in like 5 years. I'm excited to be a Vikings fan. We'll see where it goes. And yeah, I don't know. I guess if I were to give the Bears a tip, pressure the quarterback, get interior pressure especially. But aside from that, the Vikings are pretty stacked. I think it's going to be a good game. So
Okay, well, he just told us all their
yeah,
secrets.
Monday night prime time, gotta love it.
Yep.
Gotta love
Oh
it.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Show up, be there, be square. Um, you know, Len, it's it's gonna be some good matches between the Vikings and the Bears in the foreseeable future. Hopefully, this is just one of many. Hopefully next year it is J.J. McCarthy versus Caleb Williams. I think that'll be cool.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
cool.
Anyway, good luck to you in the playoffs. Um, maybe you guys get past the first round, right?
Oh, I think we will. I think we will. I think the NFC is in play. So.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching. It's getting late as hell.
All right.
So we're gonna
Yeah.
sign off. But thank you for watching the Bears Cave.
Bear down.
Bear
Yeah.
down.
Best
Say bear
Bears
down.
podcast on the internet. Best Bears podcast of the last century. So.
Thank you so much, Len. Len, say bear
Oh
down.
yeah. Bear down.
Bear down.